Welcome to My Money Mindset podcast, where we explore how a healthy mindset is the foundation for financial success. Each week, we delve into mindset hacks and practical strategies to help you enhance your income, help you make more appropriate investments for yourself, and to improve your overall financial well-being. Join us on this journey to transform your financial future by transforming your mindset. Please note that the information provided on this podcast is for general information purposes only and does not constitute as personal, financial or health advice. It has been prepared without considering your individual objectives, financial situation or life needs. Before making any financial or health decisions, you should consult with a qualified professional or financial advisor to ensure the information aligns with your specific circumstances. So let's begin and enjoy this journey as each episode teaches us on how to improve our overall mindset that it overall improves our financial success. I recently did an episode regarding divorce and separation and just what goes on and the mindsets and the proceedings and what we should be looking at whilst delving with or having dealt with divorce settlement and the finances and obviously the mindset and how that all sort of integrates in your life and the repercussions and what we should be doing. Now, I had a few listeners that did mention, which thank you very much for pointing it out to me, that they wanted to hear more about actually moving forward and how hard would it be with obtaining finance in relation to going through divorce, simply because certain things that I didn't discuss were about, could be your credit file being impacted, could have been certain aspects, whether defaults, bankruptcies, and how bad credit can often inhibit people from moving forward, no matter how mind strong they are or their mindset is in a positive point in their life, and they are actually over the fact of the divorce and proceedings have been split up and everything's gone in accordance and they're back on track and they really are confident about moving forward. But they have bad credit and they also have a lot of other things that could inhibit them from getting the finance. And they said, well, Mark, please do an episode so everyone can sort of see what the actual process is or what are the potential possibilities of obtaining finance. And the simple answer there, as in obtaining finance for people that have bad credit, whether it's a divorce settlement, whether it's just because they've made too many inquiries, or whether or not it's because whatever could be bankruptcies and things like that. Every application in finance, as those of you that use me as a broker will always understand that most of the time I'm able to get the finance through simply because I tailor suit the finance application to the bank or to the banks or to the investors, and obviously deal with the credit file initially before placing the application through. Most of the time with bad credit, bad defaults, inquiries, too many inquiries, a lot of the time I can proceed with bad credit simply because I understand all the reasons and obviously make notes upon why your credit is so bad. So going back in relation to divorce and divorce proceedings or settlements and things sticking to your credit file that don't do you any favors when it comes to getting finance, this is what we sort of mitigate through to the banks. Now, the most important thing to do when you're applying finance is quite easy, and I'm very confident in saying it's quite easy, simply because when I actually hear the full extent of the reasons, and this is where I like to sort of really get a really micro analysis upon the applicant, more so because I want to know more about my clients and where they want to go with their finance. So most of the time, yes, it is to get finance, get the loan approved and move on. And then I also like to associate the reasons of why they're getting that loan And is it making perfect sense? Now, often we think that our past is a reflection of our future, or it can be amended, and it's not a direct correlation, as in what we did in our past is going to affect our future. Now, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But if I'm able to get a really good indication upon the applicant, why they had bad credit, why they divorced, what happened in the divorce. Yeah, the banks don't really need this, but as a broker or as a coach, I really like to get down and dirty in the detail, because then we can sort of construct and strategize future borrowing and future finances and correlate that to your mindset and where you want to be in life moving forward. Because if you don't know what you don't know, and for instance, there could be something there that we've overseen, I may be able to ask certain questions that could correlate to a solution or strategy. Because most of the time, as you know, a lot of my clients know I've got multiple strategies. It just means that we need to understand the full impact of the default or the position of finance that you're in right now, right? Um, so don't always hold back. And this is why I say it's very easy to get the finance, even if you have bad credit rating, if all information is relayed. Now, unfortunately, in the finance industry, and I'm just sort of going to go a little bit off track here, the problem with most people when they do approach me and say, look, I've got a bad credit file, or I've been through divorce settlement, it's ruined my credit file, it's done me no favors. I've approached many banks, they've declined me for personal loans, they've declined me for any type of finance, credit cards, anything like that. They sort of come with a sheepish approach and say, look, you probably can't do anything about it. Unfortunately, most of the time, people that have done this have inquired with so many people, or lenders, or banks, or credit providers, and they may have just made a phone call and it's hit their credit file. It's recorded on their credit file. And more inquiries that are on your credit file don't do your credit score any good. And obviously, it pushes your score down and slowly erodes the health of your credit score. Like, a lot of people don't know this, that a simple phone call can often jeopardize their credit score, right? So this is crazy, but this is the way the system works. And a lot of the time, and I can't emphasize it enough, guys, that if you do, please come to or go to a broker that you know is so trustworthy, right? And he's going to do his utmost. He's not going to put credit inquiries. The first thing you should be doing when engaging a broker or a bank is ask them, okay, I'm going to explain my predicament here. And I'm going to explain, and this is what you've got to ask them. Are you going to put this inquiry on my credit score? And they're probably going to say, oh, not for now, but to make the inquiry and to make the assessment, I'm then going to put it through, and so on and so forth. Guys, there is a lot of information before even obtaining finance that is required before the broker or the bank or the credit provider has to put your name through the system just to get an answer of yes and no. Now, I don't really believe that that is always the way it should be done. What I'm saying is ask them that this inquiry is not going to hit my credit. I just want a simple answer. Can it be done? It can't. And they'll make this convoluted, bloody long explanation that throws you off, and you just say, well, I can't be bothered, just do it. And it hits your credit file and then affects it. Guys, slow down. It doesn't have to be that way. What you've got to make sure is that all the all the inquiries that you or discussions that you're having with your broker or bank are not going to hit your credit file. Don't just go to your bank and then say, oh, you made an appointment with your home loan specialist, when you have to make an appointment at a branch or anything like that, or over the phone, and they ring you and say, first thing, yes, Mr. Bank or Mr. Broker or Mrs. Lender, when I make this inquiry, is it going to hit my credit file? Just really emphasize that. It doesn't have to. There are so many procedures that we've got to do before we get you the finance to go for a loan. So going back to the original question of if I've got bad defaults, can I still get a loan? The answer most likely will be yes, but we need information, we need time, and we need a really good in-depth explanation about what we're going to be doing with the money. Now, a lot of credit providers don't really care, although all they want to do is give you the money so they can make money off you. But the process is it's like making sure that what you're going to do with the future money makes sense, right? You say, well, I'm buying a car because I need it. It doesn't make financial sense by no means, but I need it for transportation. So what happens there? Or I need a house to live in. Doesn't make financial sense because the loan is going to cost more than what I can rent for. That doesn't make financial sense. What I mean is financial sense to yourself as in obtaining. So for instance, if you do need a car, and it is going to cost you a loan to enable you to get to work so you can make money to then start building up your finances. That's what I mean by financial sense. It's not a direct correlation to the loan, although most people sometimes overshoot the mark with a car loan and extend it. And when they go into the dealership, they ask for too much money because they can get it because they've got a high wage. And then all of a sudden it's that feel good moment of buying a new car and getting superseded stuff on it and then walking out of there, with a lot less money in your pocket, so to speak, and a lot larger loan. Once again, ring your finance or specialist or even your broker to make sure that makes financial sense. Yes, does it make financial sense? And are you going to make the same mistakes in the future through bad credit and everything like that? And the short answer is always, no, I'm not. I'm going to make sure that I learn from it. And that's what I'm talking about. Learning from the whole process, because it's amazing what you learn in the whole process of even just talking to someone that's open-minded. What does it mean by someone? A broker, call it, or a bank manager that's open-minded. Yeah. And they can empathize with you only because of their experience and wisdom that they have engaged with through their life in the finance industry. And they're able to reflect and provide you all the information up front before any finance is engaged upon. You've got to, there's a specific term as in know your client when applying for finance. And what that means is a broker or a bank has to, as a compliance, has to know their client. And there's specific ticking boxes that we need to all fill in forms on behalf of our client when it's a regulated loan. And we make sure that we sort of know the client. But unfortunately, ticking boxes and making short abbreviated notes because we've got to go to lunch and we don't have time as brokers or bank managers to write all this detail doesn't really cut it. So what happens is it jeopardizes the potential application. And when I say know your client, it really means knowing what went wrong or if anything did go wrong, knowing what they're going to borrow for, why they're borrowing it, making sure that they understand the repayments, understanding the product that they're getting in, all these things. Because when it's too late, it's too late. And that's why mistakes, we can always pay the loan off or get out of the loan or refinance, but the mistake has been done and it's hit your credit file. So back to square one. Thus why, moving forward, don't think that your credit file, because it's low, is going to jeopardize your future in the practical sense of applying for a loan. Because a good broker or a good bank or lending manager or any which one are able to do for you are able to help you if they have your full communication, your full open-mindedness, and they are really good and they've got a lot of experience to be able to reflect back all the products without having to jeopardize and put your name through the credit file system, which jeopardizes and impacts your credit score, right? Because even if the conversation you're having initially before your credit score is impacted or the inquiry's been placed, you want to be pretty sure that the application is going to be approved. And that can only be done with wisdom and experience, especially on a broker side or a bank lending side, right? So I hope that sort of helps with the explanation of bad credit. And I mean, it's such a large subject, bad credit, right? And it sends shivers up people's spine to think that, oh, their credit score is low and they won't be able to borrow. But there's been so many, countless um, times where my clients are literally being told they can't borrow and they can. It's it's a mending process, and it's just your finance experience or your finance life, like anything, requires time, nurturing, and understanding. And unfortunately, people good with numbers and money aren't really sometimes good with nurturing. Well, that's what I found in a professional sense, right? So people that are numbers and are here to do a deal and give you the money and get paid and walk away with a commission aren't really going to worry too much, simply because if you don't get this loan, they just want the answers quick sticks. They're not going to nurture you through it. And that's the problem these days with the finance industry, is that a lot of people are not finding that their broker or their solicitors or their accountants or their financial planners or any expert that they ask or they know aren't empathizing or has the capacity to answer. So um, just understand that it is a massive learning process, and it's a massive communication process. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for instance, you approach a broker or a bank and you say, listen, I've got a bad credit file. Take the due diligence yourself and you read the room, right? You'll tell whether they care or they don't. The moment you start talking, and if their eyes just blank over and they're just staring at you without, as they say, the lights are on but no one's home, they're just looking at you and agreeing to everything. That's probably not what they're just doing that. Say you just put an inquiry in and hopefully they get a loan. Don't. Use your gut instinct, guys. Um, too many times, too many smiles from too many professionals often means that I I know reality. You don't need to be smiling all the time to get finance through. This is just sales pitches, right? Make sure that when you're engaging that you're doing all the communication, you're as transparent as all hell, but you're also receiving minute information back, or just the art of conversation that the broker or the banker should be talking about back to you, and sort of starting to empathize, right? Just because they're smiling and agreeing with you, that's a bit of a red flag. Yes, in most instances they may agree or smile and say yes just to be courteous. But getting your finance loan across the line requires a few little pushbacks too, right? So shouldn't just be, this is simple. I mean, it can be, but in most instances, they should be asking or pressure testing what you're doing with certain policies within the lending institutions that they use, and sort of saying, well, okay, let's just stop there. And their conversation should be engaging or revolving around specific points that you've made. And this is why I say you take the initiative to be transparent in communication, but also wait for certain responses from them, not just a yes sir, no sir, three bags full sort of response. Wait for that response to be specific to you, so that that loan is becoming tailor made, or that loan inquiry is becoming tailor made for you, because you are an individual. And yes, most loans are very similar, but a lot of the applicants are very dissimilar, as in things, like you said, defaults, bad credit scores, not so bad credit scores, divorces, some people have never been married. Yeah, there's so many different variances, but there is a way that we can sort of go through these steps and always make sure that the person you're talking to um, acknowledges that, right? So I really hope that that sort of points out. Look, it's very hard to explain all the issues when it comes to bad credit and applying for finance. It's very hard to place on one episode on a podcast. So I'd always emphasize to get in contact with the broker or financial advisor or accountant that you use or you entrust in, or find a good one, or get your friends and family to use. I mean, I'm always happy to talk to everyone, but um, it's really something that you've got to be tailor suited to you. Utilize your intelligence, the art of communication, even if you've got to write it down, and literally uh, follow the bouncing ball in communicating these specifics. Be good at communicating. Make sure that you always double check that they're not going to put your credit through until you are completely satisfied with everything that you hear before the finance application is put through, to prevent, obviously, credit inquiries hitting your credit score. And really make sure that you have a good relationship with your broker or advisor, right? Um, it's a communication, it's a relationship of professionalism. Your broker or your banker's not scared to sort of pressure test you and say, hang on, I wouldn't be doing this because this is what you may face in the future. I wouldn't over borrow, or your repayments may be a little bit too high. You know, certain things. I'm not saying it's always going to be bad news or it's always going to be roses, but really engage that you're going to see a professional because of their professional advice and knowledge and wisdom and experience, not just for them to hopefully get you a loan and willy-nilly. So going back to the original reason why I did this episode, is to stop and do your research. Make sure that you are full, transparent with all your communication, warts and all, as they say, all the problems, all the good things, all the bad things, and be transparent. Make sure the professional is engaging with you. They're recepting. They're not just smiling and agreeing with everything you said. And make sure that they don't put your name through as an credit inquiry until you know that it can be done, or are confident that it can be done, right? Because it's your credit file, not the person or the professional that's actually applying for the finance. I really do hope that this episode helps. I really do, that it provides an element of confidence in those that are sort of lost all faith in the industry. It's not bad. The industry is a very good industry. It's very highly compliant, and it does provide a lot of knockbacks. But don't forget, these knockbacks are sent because a lot of the other people within the industry, just like any mechanics, there are good mechanics, there are good doctors, there are bad doctors, there are bad mechanics, there are good uh, train athletes. You know, it's in every industry, but unfortunately, when you get a bad one, it gives you a bad experience. Understand and start to learn about your defaults and the credit system. I'm not saying become an expert, by no means. I mean, that's why us finance brokers and finance coaches get out of bed, right? This is our bread and butter. But you do engage with someone that's enabling you to do it, and just don't Google it, guys. Google, I mean, there's so many bloody different answers and variances on Google. It could throw you down a rabbit hole forever and cause you more anxiety and more trouble. Just persevere with communication. I'm a old school, firm believer of finding someone that you can trust and engaging with them with all the specifics. Really, if there's something here that you believe that I have missed in the episode or would enhance this episode when it comes to divorce or bad credit or anything like that, please hit me up. Please message me. Please tell me any other episodes that you'd want to hear about or discuss when it comes to finance or mindsets with your money. Please contact me. Thank you very much, and looking forward to the next episode. Thank you.